The late afternoon sun beat down mercilessly on the rural road, turning the asphalt into a shimmering haze. 10-year-old Amara Wilson trudged home from school, her worn sneakers kicking up dust with each step. The quiet of the countryside, 2 hours from Boston, was broken only by the hum of cicadas and the occasional passing car. Amara's colorful braids swayed as she adjusted her heavy backpack, filled with books and a small toolkit her Uncle Marcus had given her. She slowed her pace when she spotted a sleek red Shelby GT500 Mustang parked on the shoulder, its hood propped open like a gaping mouth. A man in a tailored suit, clearly out of place in this humble, predominantly black community, paced beside the car, shouting into his phone, "I don't care about the cost of the tow. I've been stuck here for 2 hours, and I have a meeting with the governor in." He glanced at a gold watch that gleamed in the sunlight. Less than 3 hours, for God's sake. Amara hesitated. Her Aunt Clara always warned her about strangers, especially those who didn't belong in their quiet corner of the world. But the man's desperation tugged at her. With a deep breath, she approached, her small voice cutting through his tirade. "Excuse me, sir. Need help with your car?" The man, James Harrington, CEO of Harrington Enterprises and a titan of Boston's real estate market, spun around, startled. His irritation morphed into condescension as he took in the sight of Amara Small, with an oversized MIT t-shirt and grease-stained hands. "That's kind of you, sweetheart," he said, his tone patronizing, "but this is a high-performance vehicle. I need a professional mechanic." Amara shrugged, undeterred, and stepped closer to the engine. "My uncle runs a garage. He's been teaching me about cars since I could walk. I can take a look." Before James could protest, Amara dropped her backpack and leaned over the engine with a confidence that belied her age. "When did it start acting up?" she asked, her voice steady. James sighed, figuring he had nothing to lose. "It started overheating about 40 minutes ago, then just died." Amara's eyes narrowed. "Did you smell anything sweet? Like syrup?" James blinked, surprised. "Yes, actually, how'd you know?" "Cooling system," she replied, pointing to a small puddle beneath the car. "It's leaking coolant. That's why it overheated." As Amara inspected the engine, James watched, his curiosity growing. There was something familiar about Hertha, the way she furrowed her brow, the methodical sweep of her intelligent eyes. "Hey, what's your name?" he asked abruptly. "Amara Wilson," she said, extending a greasy hand. He shook it hesitantly. "James Harrington. Nice to meet you." Amara smiled. "Nice to meet you too, Mr. Harrington. I can patch this up temporarily." She pulled a small metal case from her backpack. "Uncle Marcus makes me carry an emergency kit. You never know who might need help." With practiced ease, Amara located the leak in the radiator hose and applied a special tape. "This'll hold until you get to a garage, but you'll need to add water to replace the coolant." As she brushed her hair from her face, James's breath caught. On her finger was a ring in emerald stone set in antique gold, held in place by thread to fit her small hand. The sun glinted off the stone, revealing a crescent-shaped imperfection. James's world tilted. He knew that ring. 12 years ago, he had given it to a little girl named Amara at an orphanage called Bright Futures. Days before it mysteriously shut down, "That ring," James began, his voice trembling. "It's unusual." Amara glanced at her hand. "It was my adoptive mom, Lena. She passed away last year." A shadow crossed her face. "She said it was a symbol of a promise." James's mind raced. "May I ask where Lena got it?" Amara shrugged. "She never said exactly. It's just that it belonged to someone special, and I'd understand its meaning one day." Trying to steady himself, James offered to drive Amara home as thanks. She hesitated, but accepted. During the 15-minute drive, he asked casual questions: where she went to school, how long she'd lived in the area, who she lived with since Lena's death. "I stay with my Aunt Clara and Uncle Marcus," Amara explained. "They took me in after Mom died." "Have you always lived here?" James pressed, gripping the steering wheel tightly. "Since I was 3, Amara said. Before that, I was adopted from an orphanage called Bright Futures. It closed soon after." James nearly swerved. "Bright Futures. You're sure?" Amara nodded, curious. "Yeah. Why do you know it?" He took a deep breath. "I did a long time ago." They pulled up to a modest, well-kept house. Amara thanked him and hopped out, but James handed her a business card. "Amara, if you ever need anything, call me." She took it with a puzzled look and ran toward the house, the ring catching the sunlight. James's hands shook as he dialed his private investigator. I need everything you can find on Bright Futures Orphanage and a girl named Amara Wilson. Back at Harrington Enterprises, James pored over documents in his sleek office. 12 years ago, his father, Edward Harrington, had acquired the Bright Futures property for a fraction of its value, citing financial irregularities. Shortly after, James was named CEO. His investigator, Torres, called with news. Bright Futures adoption records are missing. Officially, Amara Wilson never existed there, and Lena Wilson died in a car accident last year. Brakes failed, suspicious circumstances. Meanwhile, Amara worked in the small workshop behind her aunt and uncle's house, her refuge filled with organized tools and the scent of oil. Fixed the old radio yet? Marcus asked, entering. Amara grinned, holding up a 1950s radio. Just reconnected some wires. Marcus ruffled her braids. You've got a gift, kid. Never seen anyone understand machines like you? Amara twirled the ring on her finger. Uncle Marcus, I met a man the other day. The car broke down and I fixed it. He recognized my ring. Marcus froze. What man? James Harrington gave me this. She showed him the card. Marcus's face paled. Exchanged a glance with Clara, who appeared at the door. Amara, Clara said tightly, we promised to tell you the truth about Lena when you were older. That time's now. That night, they revealed how Lena, a nurse at Bright Futures, had fled with Amara when the orphanage closed abruptly. They'd changed their names and lived in hiding, always wary. Clara handed Amara a yellowed envelope. Lena left this for you, to open if the Harringtons ever found you. With trembling hands, Amara read, My dear Amara, if you're reading this, someone has found you. There are things you must know. The letter detailed Lena's suspicions about the orphanage. Closure, and hinted at the ring secreta, hidden compartment. Amara carefully turned the emerald stone, revealing a tiny storage device. It held records of Harrington Enterprises' experiments on children with extraordinary talents, like Amara's knack for fixing machines. James sat in the conference room on the 50th floor of Harrington Enterprises. Facing his father, Edward, who had flown in from Florida unannounced. What's this about digging into Bright Futures? Edward demanded. I found Amara Wilson, James said quietly. The girl with the emerald ring. Edward's face hardened. She's just an orphan. Focus on Project Horizon, billions are at stake. James's voice grew firm. What was so special about her? Edward smirked. Some children have talents, military applications, patents, power. Why do you think we bought that orphanage? The doors swung open. James entered with a federal prosecutor, Sarah Collins. Sorry I'm late, Dad. Sarah has questions about Project Prometheus. Edward paled. Project Prometheus was the code name for their secret program to exploit gifted children. James connected his laptop to a screen, displaying documents, photos, and reports evidence of 48 children tested and exploited by Harrington Enterprises. You stole confidential documents? Edward hissed. Documents proving worse crimes, James shot back. Experiments on minors, falsified records, bribery, intimidation. A video played. Lena fleeing with a child, followed by Edward ordering find her. The girl has significant potential. Then Amara entered with Marcus and a reporter, Daniel Carter, his camera broadcasting live. Amara, James said softly, you didn't have to come. Yes, I did, she replied. Lena said I'd have to face the men who made us run. Edward sneered. So, your Project 17? Smaller than I expected? Amara's gaze was steady. And you're the man who killed my mom. Her brakes didn't fail by accident, did they? Mara opened her backpack and revealed the storage device from the ring. Lena was smarter than you thought. This has all of Bright Futures records, including your meetings about using kids like me for military projects. Daniel Carter spoke up. This is live on social media. Over 10,000 people are watching. James leaned toward his father. It's over. I'm cooperating with the prosecutor for immunity. You, a jury, will decide. Federal agents entered, arresting Edward as the room erupted in chaos. Harrington Enterprises crumbled in the days that followed. Investigations exposed decades of corruption, and its stock plummeted. Edward awaited trial in a federal prison, his empire reduced to a tarnished name. James, stripped of his inheritance, felt a strange relief. He'd lost his family's fortune but regained his integrity. On the courthouse steps, Amara approached him, the emerald ring now a symbol of truth. "What now?" she asked. James looked at the Boston skyline, at the Harrington building soon to be renamed. "We rebuild, not just buildings, but lives." 5 years later, Amara, now 15, walked through the Wilson Center for Young Inventors, built on the former Bright Futures site. She oversaw labs and workshops, her sharp eyes catching flaws in complex systems, with the same ease she defixed James's Mustang. James, no longer a billionaire, wore jeans as he spoke to investors about the Prometheus Initiative, now a program to nurture talented youth from marginalized communities. "We've found 23 exceptional kids this quarter," he said. "Each gets a scholarship and mentorship, no strings attached." Marcus, now the center's engineering head, beamed. "Amara's publishing her 3rd patent. Harvard, MIT, and Stanford are fighting over her." A wall display chronicled the story photos of Bright Futures, headlines about Harrington's fall, and the ring that changed everything. At the center's first graduation, Amara took the stage. "When I was 10, I fixed a stranger's car," she said, twirling the ring. "That act exposed a web of exploitation, but built something better." James, watching from the back, wiped away tears. The girl who'd appended his world had given him purpose. A letter arrived from Edward's daughter, Victoria Harrington, now a prosecutor under a new name. "We found 5 more orphanages like Bright Futures," it read. "Your evidence saved 37 children, some with talents like yours." Amara shared it with James, Marcus, and Clara, a sense of closure settling over them. What began on a dusty road had sparked a quiet revolution, dismantling a system that preyed on the vulnerable. "You know what's ironic?" James said. "Edward wanted a legacy. He got one, just not the way he planned." Mara gazed at children playing in the center's gardens, free from the manipulation she'd escaped. "Real power isn't in money or buildings," she said. "It's in making a difference." That evening, a sign was unveiled at the Wilson Center. "Every talent deserves to flourish. Every child deserves freedom." It was a promise born from a past they refused to repeat, a testament to how one small act of courage could redesign an entire system.